Hall of Fame. Well, 8 months ago, Charleston, South Carolina experienced what was known as one of the worst tragedies in the city's history. 9 people were shot and killed at Mother Emanuel AME Church. One of the victims was Cynthia Graham Hurd, the sister of former North Carolina State Senator Malcom Graham. Carolina Impact's Tonisha Johnson sat down with Graham to talk about his struggles with forgiveness and how he's working through his grief.
I did not forgive then, and I do not forgive today. It doesn't mean that I don't have forgiveness in my heart. It means that I'm still searching for understanding, and my journey to forgiveness has not even started yet.
Although several months have passed, Malcom Graham admits he struggles each day with the death of his sister, Cynthia Graham Hurd. She was one of the victims killed inside Mother Emanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina last summer.
This guy killed 9 folks, terrorized 5 others who were there, and I'm not sure there's any forgiveness in hatred and racism and discrimination.
He's referring to Dylan Roof, who came to the church on a Wednesday night and was welcomed by members. As they were ending their Bible study,
police in South Carolina are looking for a gunman following a shooting at a church in downtown Charleston Wednesday night.
He pulled out a gun and started firing at them.
We do know there are several victims, but it's unclear at this time how many and if there are any fatalities.
It was calculated, it was planned, it was premeditated.
Cynthia had been a librarian in Charleston for over 30 years. To her brother, she was his friend, confidant, and political advisor. She was also the matriarch of their family. The news of her death came exactly 1 month after Graham's oldest sister was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer.
There was a lot to wrestle with in a short period of time.
Malcom wanted to make sure that Cynthia would be remembered as more than just a victim of a senseless shooting. As a man of faith, when he reflects on the tragedy, he wrestles with the intentional act of violence and what he's been taught about forgiveness. Graham says it's difficult for him to understand why God would allow such a thing like this to happen. While he continues searching for answers, he finds comfort through music, conversations.
There's not a day that goes by, really, that I don't talk about Cynthia, because someone is approaching me to talk about her. And that's been very, very therapeutic.
And looking at family photos.
She was just a great spirit, easy to talk to, and cool as the April breeze. There was nothing that we couldn't talk about. She was very sharp. She was a sharp dresser. She was a beautiful woman.
But one of the things that has helped him the most is learning that grieving is a process.
When you go through that type of trauma, it does, it's a blow. It knocks you to your knees.
Since the shooting, Pastor Sheldon Shipman has helped Malcom understand his grief.
The main thing we have to understand, even as we process it with our faith, is that you have experienced trauma. And when you go through a traumatic situation, it is not a instantaneous, doesn't go away magically.
As Graham is now working through his grief, friends like Pastor Shipman believe that he's making great strides. And as a matter of fact, he also believes that he's at a turning point to where he can be led into a place of restoration. And like a phoenix, he'll rise again. Graham says we need to have more conversations about race to address shootings like this that are motivated by hate.
Blacks, whites, rich, poor, young, old, we all have to get to work to solve this, what I call America's greatest Achilles heels, past and present, the issue of race and racism in our country.
While the past months have been one of the most difficult periods of his life, Graham wants to focus on the future and the positive impact he can make. One way he hopes to make a difference is by making another run for Congress. He's also writing a book entitled Forgive Me Not as a tribute to Cynthia's life and his struggle to forgive. For Carolina Impact, I'm Tonisha Johnson reporting.
Thanks so much, Tonisha. Graham hopes to have his book on bookshelves by the end of the year, even on the shelves where his sister worked. in what is now known as the Cynthia Graham Hurd St. Andrews Regional Library in Charleston. Well, next, it's time to shift gears and head down the road